everyone, and welcome to Crazy Tek Talks. I'm your host, João Novo. You can also call me Tech. Today, we are diving into the exciting world of game development. We'll talk about where it's heading and what a new technology could mean for the future of gaming. We also discuss the evolution and challenges of multiplayer games. So, whether you are a developer, a gamer, or just interested in tech, I'm glad that you are here. Let's get started. So, hi guys, hello everyone. So today as I mentioned previously, we are going to talk about where game development and gaming, especially, is headed, in my opinion. This is, of course, always based on my opinion and my takes on what's next, basically. So let's get started. So the first question that I thought of, and I compiled questions to ask myself and basically answer them as I go. So the first one is, how do you foresee the future of game development, particularly with the advancements in technology? So how do I foresee the future of game development? I think, and that's my honest opinion, is that game development will become easier. It will be really easy to develop games, create new mechanics, and yeah, since the technology overall it's evolving because of the AI emergence in our world, I think that basically AI will change how do we create games. It will help us create new environments really fast. It will help us create the mechanics and test the mechanics and create new types of interactions. Like, let's imagine that you create NPCs that can be based on your path, basically the game path that you took, and the AI will evolve over time to give you quests to the point that it's targeted to you. So you will basically have a custom experience while you play the game. So every time you do something different, the output of the NPC or the world basically will be completely different, and that will create a lot of game replayability. So games will change in a way that we are not ready for. Like, for example, the introduction of blockchain and blockchain gaming, Web3, and so on. That will also bring a lot of new game possibilities. Like, right now there's a lot of games developed for Web3, but I can see games that take advantage of not social experiments, but social engagement platforms, like a decentralized autonomous organization with a game like, let's say, a guild that takes actual tokens from the game that can be traded for money and make like work. Basically, you can work on the game, so the game can become one source of income, but that will change the experience for the game for certain people. So in that sense, it will change the game industry a lot. When microtransactions were first added to gaming, basically, it changed the world. Like, then we had battle passes, we had monthly passes for seasons and so on to make you hooked to the game. And yeah, I see like blockchain being the next thing. Not get you hooked to the game. It can encompass the basically battle pass, but also can give you some new ways of giving ownership to the people, because a lot of gamers, and I really don't understand the gaming industry right now, like web 2 people, JK, not web 2 people, like game developers in general, that are really afraid of blockchain. I don't understand. Like, it's giving, basically it's giving your users, the players of your game, power that they own something that you developed. And when you purchase a game, you purchase the game, not just a digital thing saying that you purchased the game, and you can do anything with it. And people forget about it. Forget, like, not forget, but right now, as we stand, like, people forgot about owning something. They are more keen and prone to like renting, and for, in my opinion, like, it's removing the power of people. Like, not only you own, like, let's say a weapon in a game, but right now it's not possible. Some games actually allow you to do that. Let's take for example League of Legends. I use this a lot, like League of Legends, Rocket League, or any other major game. CSGO, it's a gray area because Steam has a marketplace, and that's why, in my opinion, they are against blockchain, because they will be losing revenue if they don't enter the blockchain. So that's why they cut ties with blockchain games, so you can't publish blockchain games on Steam, because they will be losing revenue. And I think that's why. So continuing my thought process is like, blockchain games and games developed for blockchain, you can integrate like a marketplace on your game that allows users to trade. You can also add like things to trade for tokens, and the tokens that you create on your game, like gold pieces or silver pieces, they can actually be traded for money. This will create a new way of pay to win, maybe you can say that. But let's say, like, for example, League of Legends. Let's focus on League of Legends. You play for a long time, you have a lot of time put it into the game, so you earn like free skins, but you can't trade with your friends. You can send them and they can't send you. You can trade your blue essences to sell, either sell or give your friends the possibility of buying their new champions on their accounts, because they started later than you. And like, yeah, they have the RP giving mechanism, but you have to pay money to have the RP on your account. And yes, you can't trade RP, you can't give the RP to the user. You can purchase RP for them, you can purchase skins, chests, and so on, but you don't own the skins, you don't own champions, so you can't actually give them. And yeah, so you don't own anything basically. And the other thing is, what's in for games like Riot Games, League of Legends, what they will earn with this. So let's say, for example, they can integrate blockchain in their League of Legends game, in the trading system. Just the trading system will be huge. So let's say that you trade a skin to your friend, or you sell on a marketplace. Okay, let's say you sell on a marketplace. When they minted, they created the NFT that you hold on your account. When they minted, when you sell on a marketplace, they can take a percentage fee. So every time they resell, or every time that a sell happens on a marketplace that is a skin from Riot Games or a champion or whatever, they will be earning a certain amount, because they just allow that feature to happen. Or either you want to sell your whole account, you can do that, and they will be earning that amount, like a percentage that they can take because they put it on the NFT itself. And yes, people don't see that part because this enables, like, this is not a huge deal for huge companies, but let's think about like indie developers. This is huge. Like, for indie developers, this type of technology allows like them to give actual things that they build, like the game, and give ownership to their community. Like, they own a special skin, or they own a special thing on their game they can be traded, and it will, in my opinion, it will create a lot of new ways of games that can be created, and new ways of game developers to think of ways to integrate these systems into a fun and completely different way of gaming that we have right now. Like, of course FPS will be FPS, of course MOBAs will be MOBAs, and of course MMORPGs will be MMORPGs. That like, there's no point on it, but you can add new things to them. Like an MMORPG, an NFT can be a character, and every single thing that the character has, like weapons, clothes, shields, and amulets, bracelets, helmets, and like everything, it could also be an NFT infused into that character. So when you sell that character, or when you trade or send that character to a friend to play the game, they will be playing with all of those things, and there will be no need of like selling your account on a black market. No, there's no point on it. Like, no point on it. And I think this will really open the door of a new way of us seeing what the actual potential of blockchain and AI will be to games. That I think it will really change how, not how games are developed, but how games are played, because it will change the way that we play games. So yeah, I think I extended myself on this question, but let's go to the next one. How will emerging technologies like AI, VR? Okay, I think I answered this. AI, VR, AR, and blockchain impact the development industry, game development industry. I think, like, I didn't talk about VR and AR, and I think they are major technologies that are being that are emerging. I know that there's a lot of development. I do VR and I did AR, but I think like we need something to make them come to light. Basically, we need not a major brand, but the ease of use VR, because one of my main concerns of VR in my way of thinking is I develop VR. I know, and I have my headsets there because I was developing for my thesis. Not today, but like tomorrow I'll be developing for my thesis. But that's not the point. Like, you need to really make the VR experience really good, because it can influentiate the people that will be using your experience. Because if you make something that makes someone, that puts someone with motion sickness, that's a huge no-no. And you need to optimize every single piece of code that you can to make that experience fluid as possible. Because if you with your experience make someone with motion sickness, that's a huge no-no. And I experienced it 2 times, because while you develop with VR, you will be susceptible to make like low FPS parts, and while you are testing, you kind of get motion sickness. and that's not a great experience. So imagine that in users' hands. And one of other things that I don't like in VR games and VR apps, is the movement. While if you move using your joysticks, that creates motion sickness, and you can't do anything about it. That just creates motion sickness because your brain perceives movement in a totally different way, and while you are immersed in that environment, you are moving while not moving, while staying in a place. So we need to figure it out how to emulate real movement in small spaces into VR. I know there's some alternative, like a place that's a 360 platform that you hook up to you and you can move in place. And I think that's kind of the way to go, because movement in VR, it's really important, and it's a critical issue that developers sometimes kind of forget about it. So yeah. What trends do you anticipate will shape the future? I think, in my opinion, AR will change the future, because holograms will be a huge thing in the future, in my opinion, because holograms, it's possible in theory, and I think will kind of change the way that we see the world with holograms and so on. But what trends I think will shape the future? I think AI, for sure. NPCs with AI in the way that the terrain is generated for a player in a game, or an MMORPG that creates an experience for a user, and dungeons can shape around how do you battle them with your friends. I think that will be huge. And also blockchain. I think those two technologies will shape really how we perceive games. And I think 5 years ahead of now, I think the gaming industry will be totally different. Yeah. And AI for anti-cheating, and I think the way that we will change the future, AI will be a key part in terms. I'm not talking AI. No, I think artificial intelligence will create some unique things in games that will change how we play them, and will create really amazing experiences for users. And yes, so yeah, that's my take. Okay, how will the evolution of hardware such next-gen consoles and high-performance PCs influence game development? I think we will hit a point that you can create games for all type of devices, because the power that we will have on our ends will be so huge that you will have some kind of glasses with a chip on it, or with a bracelet, or your phone that will have a huge amount of power, that you can play AAA games with ultra high settings, because we will have that kind of computational power in our fingertips. It will be huge. And other types of things that will change the future will be other type of human interactions, other type of inputs. Imagine that you have a device that you put on your head that can read your synapses, and you can control your character only thinking of moving the character. It's possible. That technology exists, but if we increase the bandwidth that our computers can perceive that, we can double that output basically, and we'll make a fluid experience with only imagine that you are thinking of moving a character, attacking the enemy just by thinking, without using your hands. And that will create imagine these disabled people playing games without with just the thinking. That will create a new, really, we are like, we are, in my opinion, we are always evolving, and technology is always evolving, and that's the beauty of it. And I think we will reach a point that we will create so amazing experiences that we couldn't differentiate from real world and gaming. And that's amazing and scary at the same time, because it needs to be targeted to the right places. It needs to be focused to do good and not bad. And yeah, we need to be really careful, like as game developers, really careful how we develop these experiences, because yeah, of course we want people to get addicted in a good way to our games, but the gaming industry is not that great of doing those things, because they will try to get you addicted, because they will need money. Like, not only the gaming industry, but like, for example, YouTube and TikTok will do the same thing with their shorts and Instagram, because they want their source of revenue and they want to earn money. And if you get hooked, they will be doing that. So yeah. So what is the future of indie game development what is the future of indie game development in an increasingly digital connected world? I think, like, yeah, with the tools that are emerging, like AI development, I think you'll be able to create the experience for example, you will be able to create the game that you imagine without a real huge effort. It will change the future of gaming, and it will change the future of experiences, because gaming, in my opinion, is an experience, and good games create good experiences and good memories. Yeah. So I think indie game development will change a lot. It will be with a lot of people, because people will try to create always their games, their game ideas, and the gaming industry will be filled with a lot of games. And yeah, I think it will really change the gaming industry. Like, indie game development will become a huge thing, and I think some indie developers will create some AAA games. And yeah, so let's jump to the second topic that I wanted to talk about, is multiplayer games. And I'm getting started into multiplayer games because I think, like, multiplayer, and I always loved multiplayer games, not just the FPS and MOBAs, but actually co-op games that you play with your friends for fun, that you create some memories with them. Like, me and my friends play from time to time, like stickman fight. I don't know the actual name, but we play that game and we fight, and it's fun. We have good laughs, and and we enjoy. And other games that we play, like, for example, game modes that League of Legends had, like Dominion and 3 versus 3. We played those game modes a lot, because those games were fast games, and it was fun. And we liked, or either we get stomped or we stomp. And we play, like, if we had another friend, like if we were to play League of Legends, and if we had one more friend, we will do like 3v3s between us, and it will be fun, changing teams and so on. And I miss those times. And yeah, and I think multiplayer is really a thing that will connect us. And in game development, games that I will develop, I think they should, and they most likely will include multiplayer because I'm really prone multiplayer. I really like multiplayer games. I really enjoy them. It really created like not only co-ops but for example RTS. When I was a child, I played RTS games, Age of Empires and Age of Mythology, with my cousins and my brothers, older brothers, and I love that experience because we were like in my cousin's house till like 4 a.m. playing that, trying to defeat the co-op, not the co-op, the AI that was at maximum level, and we were like 4 or 5, and we never were able to defeat the AI, but the first time that we did, it was amazing. It was an amazing feeling, like us versus the AI, and yeah, it was really fulfilling, like having that experience playing across devices, like, and being able to play games with your friends. It's such a pleasure if you enjoy the game, not just in a competitive way, but having fun. I think the fundamentals of being not only being good at the game, but the fundamentals of gaming is to have fun. It's to take pleasure while playing and make memories. And I think with this whole new ranked systems and so on, you kind of lose that. People don't have a lot of fun. Like, you see like Twitch streamers basically grinding for Challenger 1 in League of Legends, Radiant on Valorant, and like, yeah, but are you having fun? Or are you just grinding, and if you lose a game you tilt and you destroy your computer? Yeah, at least for me, I play ranked games, of course, but it's not the point. It's not my view of the game. So let's see questions. What are the unique challenges in developing multiplayer games and compared to single player games? Okay, I will answer this question and I will answer another one, and because the other one I think it's a good one. So this one, I think developing multiplayer games, it's much more difficult than single player games, because you need to take in consideration, if you are doing a multiplayer game that will affect like PvP and the outcome of it, you can't do it client authoritative. Client authoritative is basically the client tells the server where is it, where did he shoot, and if it hit the target, and the server just only reproduce that to all of other devices, and that's client authoritative. The server authoritative is basically the player sends the input to the server, and the server calculates everything and sends to all of the clients the result. I think creating a game server authoritative, that it will be harder for the player to hack and shit on the game. I think it's way harder than developing a whole single player game, because it will take a lot of effort to consider every possible variable, and also make if you are developing a server authoritative, you also need to take in consideration like client side prediction. You need to predict the consequences of your inputs while waiting for the response of the server, and you need to be almost on point. Yeah, and I think it's way difficult. You can create like single player games and put them on multiplayer, but I think if you want to develop a multiplayer game, I think you start developing the multiplayer game. You can create like the multiplayer game, create the multiplayer game, and then you can slowly like you develop a mechanic for a single user and then you port to multiplayer, one at a time, because that will become easier, because you will be creating the mechanic and you will be spending time on only that mechanic, which will increase the success of that. So yeah. Okay, how important is balancing in multiplayer games and how do developers achieve it? Okay, I never did a multiplayer game that needed balancing, but I will I will be doing that, and that will be scary because you need to know a lot of maths, a lot of mathematics to achieve a really good goal of balancing, because all of like damaging, character damaging, weapon damaging, skill damaging, like type damaging and defense types and so on and so forth, it's really hard, because you need to make almost a perfect formula to balance the damage without them becoming overpowered or like superior in terms of tanking or damage dealing. So you need to be really careful how do you come up with those formulas, because that you can of course improve them in the future, but that will of course change the gaming way. Like you can buff and debuff characters, of course, but yeah, it's really hard. So how do developers achieve it? Yeah, it's basically you try, you see if it works, and if not, do it again. That's why in games you see buffing and debuffing, and there's always, like, if you play a multiplayer game, MMO for example, or a MOBA, they will be constantly patching the game, because it's almost impossible to get it to a point that it's perfectly balanced. It's impossible. And I'm telling you, and players will discover new ways of playing the game to just, sorry the word, but to mess up with developers that didn't thought about that way of playing the game, and will change the game forever. And that's the amazing part of players playing your games and discovering things that you didn't think of. And for last question, not last question, how are developers dealing with the issues like cheating or toxicity in multiplayer games? I think like it depends. It depends on the game that you are developing and on the community that you try to develop. Because if you aim to something like I said previously, it's server authoritative, that will decrease a lot the hacking possibilities. And for toxicity, you need to create a game that won't trigger players. Like, it needs to be an enjoyable thing, and I think that will do. And of course, people will be people, and yeah. Last question. What does the future hold for multiplayer games, especially with the rise of cross-platforms gaming and cloud gaming? Yeah, I think the future will be cross-platform gaming. Like, I can play in my mobile with computers, or a VR headset with a computer, and yeah, I think the future will be like things. I think games that take advantage of cross-platform. Let's say that you are playing on a VR headset and there's a game that can be played on mobile, and if you play on mobile, you'll be one thing. If you play on VR, you'll be another thing. If you play on a computer, you'll be another thing. So the game will create something different for the players, so they can be playing on the mobile and on the computer at the same time, and things like that. And it will kind of create a lot of new interactions, and I think people need to start taking advantage of cross-platform and not like creating boundaries, because I know it's not on the game developers. Sometimes it was on the platforms that didn't allow cross-platform with other platforms. But I think there's a world that we can create with the cross-platform and making new types of experiences. And I think that's it for today. And I really hope that you enjoy this talk, because yeah, I'm a gamer. I really love games, and talking about these kinds of things makes me really, really happy. And I think like multiplayer and AI and blockchain will be and will shape our future. And I think that's an amazing thing. And I hope you come to the next talk, and thank you for watching, because I really appreciate it. And if you have something to say to me about gaming, AI, or anything, leave a comment below and subscribe, because yeah, I shouldn't ask that, but yeah, subscribe or push the like button, because I want to share the word, and I want for people to know, like I want to share my view. And I think there's a lot of potential that the gaming industry can use. So see you on the next one, and thank you, and keep coding if you are a developer. If you are not a developer, learn to code. Have fun, and see you on the next one.